Good morning peeps, this is Julia from Adventure Geek. I'm out on my sunrise walk, just doing a quick video for you this morning. And if you haven't joined the sunrise challenge yet, then please do. I'll put a link in the description below. But this video comes to you courtesy of a tag. So a huge thank you to Kaz Outdoors. I'll put a link to her channel. She's awesome, she's loads of tips and tricks, and she just explains things really well. And also the Novice Wild Camper. If you haven't seen his channel, he's just awesome. He's very creative and also very funny. And if you're looking for things on a budget, then here's the channel to look for. Again, I'll put a link in the notes below. This is really misty this morning. I've got some sun coming up as well, so let me show you. See all the mist? And then, I don't know if you can see that over there. We've got some sun coming up. So anyway, I'm a bit late to the party with regards to this particular tag, which is 5 wild camping tips. So I've had to be a bit inventive myself because everybody's done all the regular tips. So hopefully I'm bringing something a little bit different. So if wild camping's your thing, or you're looking to get into wild camping, then please stay tuned. Let's go. I've got you on a tree, look, boing. These ultrapods are wicked. Right, anyway, okay, tip number 1. So I say I had to be a little bit inventive, but I was thinking about all the mistakes that I'd made when I'm out doing a wild camp, and the first thing that springs to mind is the nightmare from hell. So you know when the tent comes down, I'd left a gap in my tent about this much, and if Rebecca and Debs are listening to this, they'll know exactly what I'm going to say. Never ever leave a gap with your zips. You need to bring them quite close together, and I'll tell you the reasons why. Things get inside when you're asleep. So basically I woke up in the morning about 1 o'clock in the morning with a massive big ginger cat sitting on my head, screamed my head off. I got out the tent, the cat was still in the tent. I had nothing to poke it with because my trekking poles were holding up my tent, and I couldn't get it out of my tent, and it went on for ages. And then I remembered I'd got my umbrella, so that's what I was doing. I was poking the cat, and eventually it got out of my tent. But yeah, that was an unpleasant evening, and from that moment on I've always closed my zips 100% so nothing can get in. So that's tip number 1. Here we are getting a bit of a sunrise. What we want. Alright, so tip number 2, staying on the theme of tents. So I'm going to tell you the story. This is what happened. So it was a really windy night on the southwest coastal path. My tent was blowing a hoolie outside. It was really windy, and to save weight I'd actually bought one of those carbon fibre poles in my trekking pole tent. So I had one trekking pole and one of those lightweight carbon fibre poles. And then from there, about 1 o'clock in the morning, the pole was going like this, like a dozen. It was just really blowing, and it tore about a 6-inch tear in the roof of my tent. The tent collapsed on me. It was an absolute nightmare. I had to end up getting outside, and luckily I was with other people and they all had Lanchantus. So I kicked in with Lou, much to her disgrace, at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then thought I'll leave it until the morning. So yeah, so the lesson for that is don't buy a carbon fibre pole, or if you do, check out Novice Wild Camper's channel, because he had exactly the same problem, because the pointy end, when it's really windy, just tears a hole in the top. And I'll show you the tent as well. It's not good. So I've had to gaffer tape it and seam seal it up. So he puts a tennis ball over the top of his pole, or if you've got a pointy trekking pole, that's not good. The trekking poles I use is the Urban Adventure travel poles, and they're really good because they've got a really nice rounded top, so that works perfect for me. So that's number 2. Sorry that was a long-winded one, but tip number 2 is don't use pointy poles in the wind if you've got a trekking pole tent. So tip number 3 is a nice, quick and easy one, and that is make sure that you know how to use your gear before you actually go out on your very first wild camping trip. So please make sure that you've pitched your tent, you know how that all works. Please make sure that you've hooked up your stove and you set it alight and you know how that works before you actually go out. Otherwise it can annoy your fellow campers if you're asking, how do you do this and how do you do that, and I can't quite get this right, and it's a right pain for other people. And yeah, so please make sure you test your gear first. So tip number 4 is all about navigation. So yes, you should always have a map with you. I mean, that's pretty basic stuff. But most of us nowadays are using technology, so using All Trails or View Ranger or the OS Maps. I personally use All Trails coupled with OS Maps, but my tip is to make sure you've actually downloaded those routes on the app to your phone. Don't rely on Signal, which is a mistake that I made in the middle of Kinder Scout, where all of the mist came down, the fog came down, we really couldn't see where we was going, and I had no signal, and I just felt very vulnerable. So please make sure that you've actually downloaded it so you can use it offline if need be. So that's probably one of my best tips, so please make sure you don't forget to do that. Download your maps onto your phone. Alright, so tip number 5 is to don't run out of stuff. So when I say don't run out of stuff, I mean the amount of times that I've run out of gas and I've had to ask somebody else if I can borrow some of their stuff, or you know, I haven't checked my first aid kit before I've gone out and I needed a plaster of something and I haven't got any left. So you know, don't run out of stuff. You're responsible for your own kit. You shouldn't always be asking for other people. Yeah, I'm terrible for that, and now I have a bit of a checklist before I go out of stuff like that. So yeah, don't run out of stuff is number 5, but I've got a bonus number 6. So bonus number 6, probably my best tip, or like my worst regret of when I went any sort of wild camping adventures, is not always documenting my hikes. So you don't have to do YouTube videos, you can just do journaling or anything like that, taking lots and lots of photos. Don't be in a rush to get from A to B, and just make sure that you enjoy the journey and document it. So yeah, I would say my bonus tip number 6 is always document your hike. It's great to sit and watch back on previous videos or read previous journal entries. I tend to do both, but you know, however you do it, even if you go onto Facebook, you can make an album on Facebook, and you can do that, set that album to only me, so you can just do it so it's private, nobody else can see it, but document your hikes. That's my last tip, so that's tip number 6. Right, so before I tag in the extra people that are going to be doing this particular video, I just wanted to say, I don't know if some of you are aware that I actually turned 50, yeah, the big 50, on Christmas Eve this year, and suddenly I realised that life was flying by so fast. So I set my goal, and I want to walk the PCT, which is the Pacific Crest Trail, and I will be walking on the 1st of April 2023. That gives me 26 months or so to save up for it. So that brings me to a little bit of a plea. If you're enjoying this video, if you're enjoying the content, then please consider buying me a coffee. It will all go into that particular pot, which will help fund my PCT adventure, and again, I'll put the links in the notes below. Right, let's get on to the tags. So the tags are, as I'm a bit late to the party with regards to the tagging, so these people have probably already done this particular tag. But anyway, I'll put the YouTube channels below because they're well worth watching anyway. So the first one is Russ Hepton from the Trail Hunter. He provides such absolutely amazing quality videos. It's what he does for a living. He's a designer at heart. He's the co-founder as well of, or the founder I should say, of Through Notes, and if you don't know what they are, then please check them out. Again, I'll put them in the description below, especially if you're journaling, as per my tip. Oops, sorry, slipping on the ice there. So that's the first one, is Russ Hepton from the Trail Hunter. Again, link in the description below. So number 2 for that is Pi, so that's Pi on the Trail. Again, a guy from the UK, and he travels all over the world, does some really interesting videos as well, good quality stuff, and he just says it as it is. So Pi on the Trail, that's number 2. Oh God, start again. Number 3 is Abby Barnes. So if you don't know Abby and you're in the UK, you really should check out her channel, especially if you're into mental health and being outdoors is good for the soul. She is really knowledgeable as well with regards to anything to do with geology and the land and stuff like that. So her videos are very honest and get to hear some of her videos as well. So yeah, check out Abby Barnes. Stay wild. Right, tag number 3 is someone that's across the pond. Don't know if you've been tagged, but it's Senior Hiker 77. I love his videos. He just has me in hysterics. He just goes for weekend hikes, but he's a bit of a gearhead, so he will do reviews on absolutely anything and compare stuff to stuff. He's really into things like chairs and hacks as well. At that time when he had like brown bread in a can that he'd discovered. So some really good stuff. If you want to giggle as well, check out Senior Hiker 77. You're tagged. Anyway, the last one is Londoner Outdoors. So he's got a fantastic channel, especially if you're into budget gear. So if you're looking for good quality, decent budget gear reviews, then check out Londoner Outdoors. Right, that's awesome. I'll see you next time. Take care. Have a good week, everyone. Ta-da!